What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
I could sense Velgrin's power had increased, but I was still amazed that she could take down a formidable opponent like the three Phantom Commanders. But Cornu didn't seem as formidable as Zelario, let alone Feldway. That's what I gathered from watching the video of him. Based on the information gathered from the labyrinth, Seal-san concluded that Cornu was weaker than me in terms of strength, even though our existence value was nearly equal. I don't know the exact reason, but I trust their judgment. So, the lesson here is to never underestimate our enemies, but we need not worry about the ones who are no longer a threat. That's the gist of the report I wanted to share.
Anyway, Cornu is most likely dead. We go way back, but I don't really feel anything about his demise.
Guy chuckled nonchalantly. It's just better to have fewer enemies. It was typical of Guy, so I proceeded with the next report without much astonishment. However, Milim jumped in.
Perfect timing. I have something important to share.
With that, I decided to hear her out.
Actually, Obera, one of the three Phantom Commanders, expressed interest in joining forces with me. It was a secretive meeting, so Feldway and the others shouldn't have been aware.
I wasn't caught off guard, but I was at a loss for words. I was like, oh, I see.
Milim, you always seem to have a knack for getting things done. How did you manage to persuade her?
We're curious to hear your perspective. Obera was quite different from Cornu and seemed very principled. It's hard to believe she'd be involved in any betrayal. So, what exactly happened?
Guy and I posed our questions to Milim simultaneously, our expressions mirroring our shared concern. With just a glance, we conveyed our mutual apprehension that Milim might be misled. We exchanged nods, silently affirming our shared understanding.
It's just my natural charm. She recognized my greatness and willingly came to me.
Being popular is tough, Milim chuckled, though I didn't take it lightly.
Calm down. This might be the enemy's scheme.
Guy admonished, but Milim remained unconvinced.
No worries. Obera was honest.
Well, but you see, Milim, there's a straightforward strategy known as poison burial, described in the Three Kingdoms manga. And sending spies to enemy territory has been a common practice throughout history. Reaching out to us now, right before a war, raises suspicion, doesn't it?
Veldora is currently engrossed in studying this. He claimed, now, I'll be well versed in strategy, but training a military strategist isn't as simple as he thinks. His worldview is too different, so I view him more as a point of reference. Given the circumstances, I found it suspicious and attempted to reason with Milim. Yet, Milim simply smiled confidently.
It's fine. I had my doubts too, so I consulted Carrion and Frey. We all agreed to trust Obera.
Well, Milim isn't naive, so she likely made the right choice. If Carrion and Frey agree, then maybe we should trust them.
What exactly did you discuss with Obera?
I inquired.
Well, you see.
After hearing Milim's account, we would make our own judgment.
I understand. Obera is monitoring Ivarage, the world-destroying dragon, at the Palace of Monsters. Hence, she can't take any action either way.
That's Guy's conclusion based on Milim's story. Ivarage and the cryptid minions are a force of destruction that can't be reasoned with. If Obera intervenes, Ivarage could be resurrected, so they wouldn't typically join the invasion. However, something was still bothering me.
If Feldway is truly willing to let the world perish as Obera claims, wouldn't he release Ivarage upon us?
Feldway and Michael are banking on Veldonava's resurrection, but it would be catastrophic if that plan fails. Hope will vanish, and a desire for destruction will emerge. There's nothing scarier than a man unconcerned about the future. That's what I thought, but...
I understand your point, Rimuru, but I find it hard to believe that idea.
I thought my opinion was valid, but surprisingly, it was not well received. Starting with Rumina's comments, de Gruel also criticized me.
Feldway wouldn't be dumb enough to utilize a monster stronger and more uncontrollable than himself.
Oh, so Ivarage is more powerful?
It was terrifying back then. Guy managed it, but I also contributed to preventing the world from falling apart.
If Ivarage isn't careful, his destructive power could shatter the stars. If we face him recklessly, we'll be in trouble.
If all you can do is defeat the enemy, what comes after that? If the planet is destroyed, world domination won't matter anymore.
I see. I guess my assumption was too simplistic. From what I've heard about Ivarage, he appears to be an absurd monster.
There's no shortage of challengers. If he shows up, I'll handle him this time.
Declined.
It's a no.
Milim, I know you're powerful, but you need to be more cautious. I may not be the best one to say this, but you should think about the collateral damage you cause.
I've already learned my lesson. That's why Ivarage, but with a twist.
Yes, I get it. But seriously, if Ivarage returns, I'll be the one to confront him. I've been itching to get rid of that guy. When the opportunity arises, I'll make sure to eliminate him.
Guy stated in a chillingly cold tone. Naturally, no one dared to argue. Milim wasn't thrilled, but she agreed to allow Guy to handle Ivarage. Then, the discussion shifted back to Obera.
Can't you inquire about the enemy situation or something?
De Gruel questioned Milim.
I did, but she seems unaware of the forces acquired in our world. Feldway is suspicious, so she might have been cautious about asking the wrong questions that could lead to misunderstandings.
Well, Obera is right. Feldway is a clever man who doesn't appreciate his subordinates overthinking things.
So, they just have to follow orders?
I inquired, reminiscing about my past difficult boss. Guy responded to me as I fondly recalled the old days.
Not exactly. If you're fully devoted to a mission, you shouldn't be preoccupied with others. That's his perspective, which is why Obera's answer makes sense.
If Obera was trying to deceive us, she could have used false information to earn trust. Instead, she claimed ignorance, ultimately boosting Obera's credibility. Still, I doubt Feldway and I will see eye to eye.
He's so arrogant that he sees his subordinates as mere pawns. He believes he's always right.
And I inadvertently revealed my true intentions. Upon hearing this, Guy smirked at me.
Was that a sarcastic jab directed at me?
He teased.
No, not at all.
I reassured. Oops, that was risky. This guy is not just arrogant but dictatorial. Guy doesn't even view the demons under his command as pawns. A slip of the tongue like mine could provoke his wrath. I quickly covered up my statement and continued.
For now, I'm more inclined to trust her, so let's wait and see.
Upon my declaration, everyone nodded in agreement. Now that the Obera situation was resolved, I steered the conversation back to the main topic. There have been too many distractions, making this meeting quite challenging.
This meeting is going nowhere. Is anyone keeping secrets?
I grumbled, prompting everyone to speak up.
You can't say that.
They all objected. Fair point. I seem to be the one withholding the most secrets, making my statement unjust. As I pondered that, I refocused on the meeting. Currently, Ruminez is leading the group.
Hey, since we're not acquainted, we can't really work together. Let me give you an overview of the situation.
She started. She went on to detail the enemy forces. Michael was the main leader, with the Frost Dragon Velzard under his command. Phantom King Feldway also had Zelario of the 3 Phantom Commanders at his disposal. Additionally, there was Insectar being watched over by Zelario, and their ruler, Insect Lord Zelanus. Zelanus might have his own team, but Obera wasn't familiar with them, making it uncertain. Honestly, this was the group that concerned her the most. The Insectar Majins were all incredibly strong based on what she knew. Besides Zijin and Apito, there were Rizul, the guardian god of the West, and Manaza, who Xian had defeated. Zelanus himself was a threat, and his potential strong allies made the situation even more worrisome. Then there was the trio of Dino, Pico, and Gracia. The fact that Dino was an awakened demon lord was already a cause for concern, but if he possessed an ultimate skill, it would present an even bigger challenge. And lastly,
there's an undead elf with an angel inside that could match us. Tricky. I wish we knew their numbers.
That's a lot to take in. We should focus on finding solutions rather than complaints.
Ruminez scolded De Gruel.
Any considerations on who should handle what?
Leon inquired with a calm demeanor. It may seem like a waste of time, but it's not pointless.
Well, Leon should avoid facing Michael, at the very least.
I concurred with De Gruel. We couldn't risk Leon falling under their control. Cooperation was key in preventing that scenario. I was worried that Feldway, like Lieutenant Kondu, could also manipulate others. After looking into it further, I understood the extent of his power.
Michael can transfer his power and influence others to a certain degree. So, keeping Leon away from Feldway and Michael is essential.
I explained. If Feldway had already borrowed Michael's skill, the situation would be even more troublesome.
It's frustrating. If they manage to control Leon too, our disadvantage will only increase.
As I overheard Ruminez mumbling, it dawned on me that I had neglected to mention something else.
Oh yeah, Leon wasn't the only one at risk.
Really? What do you mean by that?
Well, like I mentioned before, Veldora was captured by the enemy during the recent battle.
I'm quite intrigued by that. Please elaborate on the details.
Ruminez looked back at me with a surprised expression. That's when I clarified that Michael possessed the power of absolute control known as the Regalia Dominion. As for Chloe, she had already taken care of her own situation, so I postponed discussing her further. If things escalated, Seal-san would have intervened, so I felt it was safe to let her handle it herself. I proceeded to explain what had happened to Veldora.
Rimuru-kun, you were the one who inquired about any additional secrets, right?
Oh no.
No, did I really say that?
You definitely did.
You did mention it.
You did.
You did.
There was no support on my end. I tried to clarify desperately.
It wasn't a big secret or anything, I simply forgot to mention it.
But nobody was convinced. The secret was already known to Ramirez's. I thought to myself, but bringing that up would not help my case. Realizing this, I gave in and apologized. The other demon lords were growing impatient, making it more challenging to handle the situation than I had anticipated. Finally, I was able to steer the conversation back to the main point, though upon reflection, the situation was indeed quite dire. If our forces were weakened, the enemy's power would only increase. It was akin to a shogi game where only one side could resurrect pieces, a condition that made victory seem unlikely. My oversight in explaining this fully was my fault, but I understood that it was not an easy narrative for others to grasp.
Hey, so is there anyone around here who's being controlled by the Regalia Dominion?
Don't worry, an angelic skill user's control doesn't usually show symptoms, but with the Regalia Dominion, it's more of a forced control that removes the ego and results in unnatural reactions. Veldora confirmed he was taken over since we share a soul corridor.
Got it. How did you manage to free Veldora then?
Well, that's...
This question again? I devoured him, and Seal-san performed a skill alteration. But I didn't want to sound foolish by explaining it that way. Since they wouldn't believe me anyways, I had no choice but to fabricate.
It was like Velgrin-san. In the midst of battle, Veldora unlocked new abilities. I guess it was the power of friendship.
Their gazes were skeptical. I know they're eyeing me suspiciously, but I have to stick with this story.
Hey, I had a serious fight with Velzard too, and she didn't evolve her abilities, right?
Well, I guess everyone's different.
I'm saying this, but even I know it's a far-fetched explanation to buy.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Misa LW Hernandez, Yuki Iki, Gray, Chris Jr., Isaac, Koala King 93, Paul DeGrassi, Little 95, Quilly Buckner, Zephyrath, Alver. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.